Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of today's Q&A with Shannon about OCD Recovery series. I don't care. That's the title of the series. I do care. That's the title of the series. All right. If you want to see the question, go back to part 1. It's helpful to understand my answer. The answer. First, we try to keep the strategy simple because the OCD is going to do everything it can do to try to convince us that this particular thought is different, right? OCD is going to say, it's different, therefore you can't apply the strategy. Yeah, don't fall for it. My strategy applies to all OCD thoughts, regardless of the content, right? In that moment, in that fork in the road moment, when OCD is tapping you on the shoulder. Identify when we suspect even slightly that OCD is the source of the thought and attribute it to its rightful owner, OCD. Allow the thought to be in our mind, resist giving it to the compulsion. Pretty straightforward. Now, 2, allowing the thought, that particular rule. How do we not care? How to get ourselves not to care when we do care, when it feels like we really do care. Let's break this down. And we'll use Anonymous's episode or theme to help us along. So in Anonymous's theme, the absence of the anticipated absence of the person important to Anonymous triggers the specific OCD thoughts about all the bad consequences that could happen because of that absence, giving Anonymous uncertainty, anxiety, and fear that leads to that compulsion to try to get immediate certainty or immediate relief from anxiety or fear. OCD is betting that Anonymous is going to not want to have uncertainty, anxiety, and fear and do anything to get immediate relief. What's the answer? Well, treat the thoughts triggered by the absence, in this case, Anonymous's theme. Treat the thoughts triggered by that absence as OCD. Be indifferent to them. Be indifferent to their presence because we suspect they're coming from OCD. And when I say be indifferent or I don't care, I'm not saying that I don't care if the bad thing happens, right? I'm saying that I don't care if that OCD thought about the bad thing happening is in my mind. I'll use my own example. I used to really suffer badly from hit and run OCD, right? After I'd be driving, hit a bump, see a person hit a bump, OCD would come in and say, hey, you might have just hit somebody and they're bleeding to death in the street. You need to go back and check. And I'd have all of this anxiety and all of this uncertainty and this intrusive thought coming back saying, look, you need to go back. And when I learned that I couldn't go back, OCD would follow that with, if you don't go back, right? If you don't go back, it's your mistake. You're going to go to jail, right? You're pretending that this is OCD. On and on and on. So I wasn't saying that I don't care if I just might have killed somebody. I was saying, I don't care if this OCD thought, this thought that OCD has put into my mind that I might have just killed somebody, is in my mind. I don't care. I could be indifferent because I suspected the source of the thought to be from OCD, and I knew what OCD wanted from me, was trying to use this as bait to lure me into the trap. And maybe the most powerful thing I ever did was not to care that OCD was doing that. I didn't have to respond. OCD was screaming at, you have to care. You have to care. You're a bad person if you don't care. You're going to go to jail if you don't care. And on and on and on. And this applied to all of my themes. OCD always did this to me. And I said, no, I don't have to care that OCD is putting these thoughts in my mind. And my theory was that they were a false narrative. Even though I didn't know that they were a false narrative, I treated them that way. I was told that I had this disorder and I had to change something because if I kept giving in to these fears, to this anxiety, to this uncertainty, I would never get better. So that was my way forward. And it applies to OCD thoughts across the board. So again, you're not saying that you don't care if the bad things happen. Bad things happen, or the bad thing happens. You're saying, I don't care if this OCD thought that the bad thing is in my mind. And to Anonymous's point, I could say that you can naturally care that someone is absent from you. We all have that feeling, right? We miss loved ones when they leave us. It's life. It's human life. But you don't have to care that OCD is now following that absence, or the anticipated absence, with thoughts about, hey, you're going to die if you can't get to this person. You must really want them to be gone, or you must really want to die. All of those thoughts. We can actually not care. We can legitimately not care that they are in our mind because they're coming from OCD. And by the way, as I said, it is the most powerful weapon you have. To not care that OCD is putting these thoughts in your mind, because all OCD is trying to do is lure you into a trap, right? That cycle of obsessions and compulsions. You're giving all of your energy and time to OCD. OCD is like this jealous friend. Pay attention to me. You can't pay attention to anybody else or do anything else. You have to pay attention to me. Don't fall for it, right? You have your life. You can live your ordinary life. You can be concerned about things that people who don't have OCD are concerned about, and not be concerned about all of the crud that OCD is putting in your mind. And the final thing I would say, OCD needs you to care about the thoughts it puts in your head. And you weaken OCD significantly if you don't care. It's okay not to care. All right, I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you on Monday for Motivation Mondays. Bye.